Hi there, and welcome to my review of Black Panther, which is the 18th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and one of their very best. So, Black Panther follows T'Challa, who is the new king of Wakanda, which is a fictional country in Africa, and he is now also the superhero Black Panther. And then a political struggle within his own country leads to trouble. It's a film which is very different to a lot of the Marvel Cinematic Universe thus far, and different in a lot of the right ways. So firstly, the world is very unique. We've kind of had a lot of Marvel movies set in the USA, we've had some set in space, but this is an earthbound story set in a fictional country with a completely fictional style. In fact, the whole aesthetic is very Afrofuturist, which is a very, very niche sort of subgenre that I'm very glad appears here for the first time in a major Hollywood movie, just because it's interesting and because we haven't seen it before. So there's a lot of really distinct things about the world building here which makes it so strong. In fact, the world of Black Panther is kind of its strength in that it has this whole world and this whole society, this whole set of people, which it really showcases very, very well. The rituals and the traditions and the style and the lives of people are kind of slowly developed over the course of the film, and the world building is very, very simple, it's very, very effective, and it's very, very expansive. You really get a sense of Wakanda and its place within the world, and it's a very, very simple movie that really does well to discuss its world and to create that world and make it interesting. It also draws on a lot of fantasy. So within Wakanda there's tribes and there's rituals and there's monarchy. It's a very traditionalist fantasy sort of style. The other real strength of Black Panther is just the strength of the characters and the acting. Across the board, all the actors are pretty much great, and the characters are all very well developed, very likeable. They're all very interesting. They all have various roles as shifting allegiances, so there's a lot of interesting ways to look at them, and there's some legitimate political and internal conflict within a lot of them. The other thing that's really, really good about Black Panther is the villains. So the Marvel Cinematic Universe has basically had one consistent criticism, which is the villains are pretty bad, and in almost every case I agree the villain is pretty poor and almost always one of the weakest characters in the film. In Black Panther, the villains are great. So there's a secondary villain played by Andy Serkis, who previously appeared in Avengers Age of Ultron, and his return here is good. He's a very love-to-hate sort of scumbag, and he really has a lot of energy on screen. But the real standout is Michael B. Jordan as Everett K, the main villain here. For a few reasons. Not only is he the villain very realistically motivated, he's also politically intriguing, he's also charismatically likeable, but he's also got this real energy. He really does feel like a true villain in his actions, but there's another layer to it which is more fascinating, which makes him a bit more human than a lot of the villains. So villains in the MCU are characters like Loki, who are not really that human, they're kind of wacky caricatures. Everett Killmonger feels like a real person given the confines of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The fact that the Black Panther has a strong villain makes it, just for that reason alone, a distinctive Marvel movie. The other thing that's quite distinctive is the music. For the first time in a Marvel movie, I've listened to the music and gone, I quite like that music. I think that's actually memorable. So Black Panther tells this really compelling story with these really great characters, and it's really exciting for the most part. It's also very well set up. It also has this very interesting thing, which is the politics of it were a lot more different than I expected them to be. I thought this would be a movie which, like most blockbusters, wouldn't even touch politics. And Black Panther actually has a couple of notions, it has a couple of ideas. It sort of touches upon the plight of people of African descent and the way that the world should react to that and the way people should treat that. And also it touches on stuff like globalism versus isolationism and other things. And I have to say, although I don't think the film does a particularly good job of asking these questions, I think it certainly doesn't really go into them, and I certainly think in the end it's not a particularly radical movie. In fact, the movie kind of just ultimately, it takes a very, very centrist take that doesn't really pick a side. So although it doesn't really go into it or be radical or be really out there, it does at least have some ideas which make it kind of interesting. At least there's something there to really dig into if you really cared to, but I don't think it does it particularly great. The only sort of real negative I had of Black Panther is the action didn't particularly work for me. I think that unlike the very clean and crisp action that you have in the Captain America films or in the Avengers films, I feel like the action here was a bit haphazard. It was kind of messy and hard to follow in places. It just didn't really stand out to me as being particularly interesting. That doesn't necessarily mean it's bad, I just think it's about average for the MCU. So yeah, Black Panther really works across the board. It is writer-director Ryan Coogler's weakest film, I think, but that doesn't change anything. He's a very great director, and this is a very strong film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's not the best one in the franchise thus far, but it really is among the top 2 or 3. It's really, really great. I think it nails characters, I think it nails world, I think it nails being exciting, I think the action could be improved, I think the plot is interesting but not really developed. I obviously get that obviously this is not a movie that people want to watch for politics, so I understand why they didn't do anything with it, but it just seems like if you're going to bring them up, you may as well actually take a stance as opposed to the most bland possible stance that it is taken. So yeah, Black Panther is pretty much a great film. I think it absolutely works across the board, even if there's a few little flaws here and there. Have you seen Black Panther? I'd love to hear your thoughts, so leave me a comment, and if you like this video, please give it a like. I post reviews all the time, so please subscribe if you want to hear more of me. And if you want to follow what films I'm watching, you can follow me on Letterboxd or on Twitter. And Black Panther is a great film.